Hey, I wanted to give you a bonus section on sales and marketing. So get a pen and paper, take some notes. These are simple but extremely valuable tools that you will use not only for this business, but for your life as well. So you ready? So Jordan is in the background and he might say hi as well from time to time. Sales and marketing. Sales and marketing was something that I hated, despised. In every kind of way. I made every single excuse in the book of why it wasn't for me, why it wasn't my niche, it wasn't my strength, it was something that I need to hire somebody else out to do. And so it's been really a 12-year process, about 12-year process for me to grow in how I even think about sales and marketing. You see a lot of shisty people out there. You see a lot of people that just want your money and that are manipulative, or their approach is like, the typical car salesman kind of thing, just annoying, obnoxious, and you don't want to be that. Who wants to be that? I will tell you that, all of the both secular and believers in the business, they will tell you, and I 100% agree with this, that if you focus on money, and you don't even necessarily have to be desperate to make a sale, but if money is your number one focus, then your customers or your clients, they're going to feel that desperation. They're going to feel that you want something from them. And that's the last thing you want. That is the last thing you want, is for somebody to feel like you just want something from them. And that's where manipulation and, just feeling used, all of those things, they kind of come into play. And so you don't want that. And so they'll tell you, this is what you do, this is how you make money, this is how you approach your sales and marketing, whether it's face-to-face, online, you're handing out flyers, whatever you're doing. You want to seek to add value to people, and then the money will come. If your focus is on how can I add value to someone, the money will come. Now, if you really need money, if you need money to pay your bills, or even just you have some goals, you want some extra money, it is really hard. It is really hard to run a business or to think about increasing your income without having that as a focus, without having money as a focus. So, all I can tell you in that is just let it be a process for you. But you really can get to a place where your main focus is how can I add value to somebody. It's going to take a lot of stress and pressure off of you, and you're going to have an ability to build a greater rapport with your customers and clients. Let me take this from you, Punky. Is there something else that you can have that's not so noisy? Which leads me to my next point. Building rapport. Building rapport is huge. So what do I mean by rapport? Rapport is you have a conversation with somebody and they start to feel like they can like you. Maybe they know you, maybe they trust you, maybe you build some certainty in what you offer, your service or product, what you offer. So that trust level comes. Building rapport is not necessarily like, oh, me too, like having commonality. It's not necessarily, you did that, me too, because you want to be the expert in your field. And so there's a time and a place to say, oh, I'm from there too. I'm from that city too. But you don't want to do that too much when you're in a conversation, first learning, first getting to know somebody, first building rapport. You want to stay away from too much commonality, because that'll put you at a place where you're just suddenly not the expert. You're too familiar. And people want to hire experts. They want to hire somebody who knows what they're doing. Which leads me to my next point. Certainty. You want to build certainty in the customer or potential client that you're talking to. So building certainty in them means that you have to be certain in your product or service, and you need to be certain in your company, and you also need to be certain in yourself. Certain in your company, certain in your product or service, and certain in yourself. So those three areas, that's a whole other skill set to build those certainties and really that confidence in those areas, because If you're not certain that you offer a high quality service or product, if you're not certain in your capabilities to do your job well, or even in the company itself, that's going to come across to the other person, and they're going to doubt and probably not trust that you're the best fit for them. So when you build rapport, when you meet somebody for the first time, whether it's in person, shaking their hand, or whether it's an online presentation, or whether you just meet somebody in the grocery store, those first 4 to 6 seconds are huge. The eye contact, the confidence, and that certainty, and that certain level of confidence without being overly confident. Okay, next thing, the person who asks the most questions wins. What do I mean by that? People love to talk about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. So probably the most amateur thing you can do, if you're at a networking meeting or somebody's asking you about your business, or it maybe just gets brought up somehow. One of the most amateur things you can do is just go on and on and on and on and on about you and your company, especially when you know nothing about the other person. He or she who asks the most questions wins. You might even have to, if you're asked a question first, you might even have to turn that around into a question about the other person. So asking questions about the other person to get to know them, to get to know who they are, what their business is, and showing interest in them kind of subconsciously speaks to them that you care about them. That you care about them. You're not just all about you. And again, people like talking about themselves. So if you ask the other person questions, that you're going to naturally feel good about what you're asking them. A really easy way to think about, what questions am I even supposed to ask, is an acronym called FORM. FORM. You ask about their family, occupation, recreation, like what do they do for fun, and then you kind of think about the message. So let's say you meet somebody for the first time. You're going to a networking meeting. Or you just, you meet somebody at a party, or you go to the grocery store and you're meeting somebody. Don't automatically assume that you know where this conversation is going. You might have it in your mind of like, hey, this might be a good opportunity to present my business. But that person, they actually may need to hear the gospel. They may need to hear how much Jesus loves them. Or you may be thinking in your mind, I want to pray for somebody in the grocery store today. Maybe I can share the gospel. And it might turn into an opportunity to listen to what they have to offer by asking them questions, or share your business. So you never know what message you're going to need to share that day. So FORM: family, occupation, recreation, and message. Okay, this is huge. You need to know your 30-second story. Your 30-second story when somebody asks, what do you do for a living? Or you're asked to stand up I remember I went to Toastmasters for a while, and every single meeting, Toastmasters is a meeting where people go to learn how to speak better, which I highly recommend. The better you speak, the more people feel like you are qualified, educated, and capable of doing your job. So they would ask us to stand up, tell her, they didn't really say 30 seconds. Danny Johnson says 30 seconds. But stand up and tell us a little about who you are and what you do. And I grew. The more I did that, the more I became comfortable and didn't feel as awkward saying, hey, I'm Ashley Gerbers. I am certified by John Maxwell to help individuals and businesses reach their potential through personal growth with coaching and leadership training. So something kind of like that. When you share your 30-second story, you might want to include where you used to be and where you're at now. Danny Johnson says, I was a broke, homeless cocktail waitress, and I made my first million in my early 20s. That's pretty impressive. So if you have, kind of a testimony, a real quick testimony to share, do that. And don't be afraid to do that. Stories, a good story will capture somebody's attention and make them want to listen to you. Also notice my story was kind of boring, but I didn't just share, hey, I'm Ashley Gerbers and I'm a John Maxwell coach. I shared how I can help people, which brings me to another point. when you're marketing, so this can be especially with online marketing, but also when you meet people in person, you want to share how your product or service can benefit them, what the benefits are, not just what you do. We're a cleaning company. You want to hey, we help people who are busy, who are physically don't have the capability. You want to talk about the benefits of your services. That speaks to people. That makes people like, yeah, I need that. So the benefits of what you do. That's right, Jordan. My last point. Well, let me tag on to the benefits, then I'll get to the last point. People want to know how you can help them. They don't want to just know what you do. They want to know, now, how can you help me? How can you help me? And so that's what you're saying, is how does my product or service help you? And then the last thing, just I'm echoing what Jordan says, be enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic about what you do, about who you are, about the company that you work for. Joy and enthusiasm speaks volumes. People typically are miserable in life, or they don't like their job, or they're scared or timid, or they don't want to share what they do, or blah blah blah, on and on and on. So it really sets you apart when you're enthusiastic about, yeah, this is what I do. That speaks a lot to people. So if I see somebody that's enthusiastic about what they do, it's like, wow, kind of makes me want to be a part of what they do. Nobody wants to be a part of depression. Nobody wants to be a part of stress. So if you're coming out stressed, people are going to resist how you present yourself. So I could go on and on about body language and tonality, the tone of your voice, and so many other sales and marketing techniques. But really, that is a huge chunk of super strategic information that will bless your socks off as you seek to build your business and really set a good name for yourself and your company.